All right, so we're joined for our final guest of the semester by the incredible Diana Yamete Wilson, the founder of Black Sisters in STEM, all the way from New York City. We thank you so much for joining us. I got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, for all of our computer science engineering students, including my good friend Angela Jordan over at Shirley Simmons Middle School, and our Academic Options Center, Rosa Scott, Madison Middle School, Germantown High School, all of them. So we thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to join us today, all the way from New York City.
Absolutely. It is my honor and privilege to be here, and I'm so excited to speak with you all.
All right, so before we get into all you do with Black Sisters in STEM and some of the new, because you guys deal with AI, it's really cool technology you guys deal with. You have a very cool backstory
Mm.
because you were born in Newark, New Jersey, right across the river from New York,
Yes.
and you're a first generation American.
Yes.
And you went to the University of Virginia because you grew up going to the bank with your mother and you wanted to be a banker. So you originally were a finance major at University of Virginia. So just give us a little background because that is not what you do now.
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. And again, Greg, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It is such a privilege to be before you guys. And I hope that my story inspires you to know that there's always a difference in tomorrow. All you have to do is decide for it to be different. And so my backstory is really quite interesting and all over the place. I am Ghanaian American, so shout out to all my Ghanaians. And those going to Ghana in December as well. But I was born in Newark, New Jersey. And I know many of you may not have heard of it or may have not been there before, but Newark is not necessarily the most beautiful place, according to some. And it is actually ranked consistently as one of the US top 10 worst cities
Yeah.
ever since I was a young girl. Still to this day, it's still on that list. And so this is where I grew up. This is the environment that I grew up around. But I also grew up with a home and a church home that was filled with encouragement and light. And it gave me a perspective that was different than what I was seeing on a daily basis in Newark, New Jersey. And that perspective was of hope. It was a perspective of unlimited possibility. And it was a perspective that I could do anything I put my mind to. And so I remember literally as a young girl, I told everyone I was going to be the president of the United States, the first Black female president of the United States. And I remember writing it, and it was just so clear to me that that was possible. There was nothing that seemed weird about it. And I didn't even know I was going to be the first. I just thought it was okay as a Black woman to be a president. Nothing hindered me. And I want to say that because a lot of you, as you have grown up, I've experienced this as well. We let the world tell us boundaries and limitations, and then we believe it. And so that same childlike wonder and imagination, we've lost it. When is the last time that you said, I could do anything? I could be the president. I can do this. The next thought in your mind is probably, oh no, you can't. You're this. This is your GPA. This is the high school you went to. And I wanted to say that specifically so you know that get back to that childlike wonder and let no one steal it. If they don't have it, that's their business, that's their life. But for you and your mind, you're going to move in unlimited possibility. And so my mom took me to the bank, and I always said, oh, I want to be the CEO of Bank of America because my mom was a Bank of America client for literally all of our lives. And that made me interested in money and finance and banking. I then went to the University of Virginia on full scholarship by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and I had over $200,000 in additional scholarship. So I always
Wow.
tell people I was literally paid to go to school. People pay for university, I was paid. About 10K a semester I received. And I'm not talking about to pay for my housing or anything. I'm talking about all that is already paid, and then I get another 10K. And so, again, I hope this story is opening your mind to possibilities. Don't think you have to pay for college. There's people who get paid in college, just
Yeah.
in case you didn't know. And so when I got there, I was hit the ground running, finance, math major. I love math. My dad's a mathematician. I've always been that cute girl in the math group, and I loved it. And it wasn't until I was removed from my environment at home that I realized I had not really built a strong foundation within myself of self-efficacy, that I believed in myself. And so when I went to UVA and I didn't have my parents and my siblings and my family and my church pushing me forward, I started to believe everything everyone was saying about me. I started to believe limiting beliefs. And I dropped out of my finance and math major, not because I wasn't doing well. I was actually one of the top students. I was a star student. At University of Virginia, you have to actually apply into the undergraduate business school. You can't just select a business major. And I was one of the top students that they like everyone knew I was going into this business school. But because I didn't believe I could do it once I got in, I decided to take myself out. I self-sabotage myself. And many of you know what that's like. You have the opportunity, you see it in front of you, but you tell your own self you won't be able to do it. So instead of getting rejected, no one rejected me. I rejected myself. And if it wasn't for the help of a few Black women who were my mentors, who were seniors and recently graduated from UVA, I would have never continued in business. But with their help, they were like, you're still going to do this. And I was able to intern at PwC, McKinsey and Company, JP Morgan, and then ultimately get a full-time job at Google. And I was the only Black person in my class who got a full-time offer at Google. And not only
Wow.
that, I was one of like three people across race and gender who got an offer from out of UVA to Google. And so it was the same girl who rejected herself, who was now being put in positions that very few people made it to. And when I realized all that happened, I just wanted to help inspire people like yourself, share my story, share resources, because I can tell you, if you change the way you think, if you change your perspective, you can change everything in your life. And that is my goal, to teach the world and to teach the youth. Let no one taint your perspective, but believe in yourself to the point where people can call you crazy. Let them call you crazy while they watch you win. I
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, and you have a great story you tell on one of on your website about you had the opportunity while you were at UVA to spend a summer in Ghana and Morocco, and you talked about going to the former slave castle there in Ghana and how it had such an impact on you because that really shows how far your ancestors had come since they were enslaved on the Atlantic slave trade.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in the US, but I was taken to Ghana when I was very young. And then I came back when I was very young. So I don't really have a lot of memory. I don't have any memories of the time I was in Ghana, really. But I was able to go back to Ghana through UVA on scholarship, and it was like a home going for me. And like you said, it was a full, complete circle of understanding where my own ancestry and legacy was coming from and how far we've come. And it was there that I knew that if we have come this far, and if I have so many things going for me, you know, even today, I'm not saying the world is the best for Black women, but the world is way better for Black women than what my grandmother experienced. And so if she was able to go to work to figure out how to get her children to a whole nother country to survive in that country, to thrive in that country, then I can figure out how to do those things as well. And I can help others how to do that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll send everybody that clip because that is such a powerful story. But something you've mentioned a couple of times that I think is so important is finding the network when you do go to whatever university you go to. Because you're like I said before we started recording, you're preaching to the choir. Resources in this country have not always been available in rural Black communities or in inner city Black communities or in Hispanic communities. We have a lot of first generation Americans in our district.
Mm.
Some that'll see this are children of immigrants and they have not always had those opportunities. But one things that foundations like yourself do is you create those opportunities. But when kids get to college, it can be overwhelming. I know you talked about you had some mental health issues when you went to college, but that is so many other people have dealt with that. But when you
Mhm.
get to college, no matter where you go, what you decide to study, the GPA is important. Obviously, you've got to be a great student, but finding your opportunity in student organizations with mentors, networks, internships. I know the National Society of Black Engineers here in Mississippi does a
Yeah.
phenomenal job at Jackson State, which is HBCU, but they also are at our PWIs at Ole Miss, at Mississippi
Hmm.
State, and I graduate of LSU. They had a very large NSBE chapter, and they create all types of opportunities that did not exist just about 20 years ago. So
Mm.
finding a niche in there, finding your people, I have so many kids say, when I go to college, I'm just going to go to class and go back to the dorm room.
Mm-mm.
uh, you're not going to be successful with that because there's never been a greater time to harness the opportunities that have been created for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say college, if there's one thing that I would tell everyone, is take the first semester, don't rush. Take the first semester to chill, be a good student. Understand the habits that can help you be a good student. Make sure that GPA your first semester is solid. Because even if you do well for every other semester, it's all benchmarked on that first semester GPA.
Yep.
So instead of trying to fight to bring it up, have a really strong first semester. And once you do that and you have your 4.0, 3.9, 3.8, then after that, make sure you're thinking about clubs and networks and stuff and really maximize it because college is one of the best places to build the network that will sustain you really for your life. There's so many people I know now who I met in college who are on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. They've built big businesses, they've built technology startups. Like these are people in my network. And if they're not directly in my network, they're very close to my network. And so I can get access to them very easily. And so the network that I built in college is are the same people who are of my age who are thriving today. So take the time, don't just be in your comfort zone. And that's what I did. I was like, well, I'm just going to stick to, people I know, people who look like me. Don't do that. Stick to anyone who is excited about you, excited to learn about you, and make friends across all lines, across all races, all genders, and really go out of your way to have a good reputation with people.
All right, now, this is something I talk about with all of my guests, and it's something that has changed just in the last few years. And we've had several guests give us various opinions on this. But we have a lot of kids that maybe say, I want to get into the tech space, I want to get into the STEM space, but I don't really see myself going to a 4-year college. I don't want to put in that type of commitment. My family can't afford it. I don't want to go away from home for that long. So, what are some opportunities if kids say, yeah, I want to work in this field, but I don't want to necessarily do the university route?
Absolutely. So now there are so many opportunities with what we call boot camps. Boot camps are a huge way for you to enter into the STEM field, especially like in cloud. There's so many cloud engineering boot camps. There's so many Scrum boot camps that allow you to enter into top six-figure roles without having a degree. And the thing about the tech field specifically, not all parts of STEM, but specifically the tech field, they have removed a lot of requirements for university. They just want to see that you can do it. So start learning now. Literally, I always tell everyone when you start rushing things, that's when you get stressed, you get anxious, and you're worried, and you're not going to do it well. But you're in high school, start learning how to code now. Take your time, do one video a week, 30 minutes a week. If you keep doing that, by the time you're graduating or you would be graduating in your senior year, you are well advanced more than people who even studied computer engineering for 4 years. Take the time to just learn and do and know how to do what you want to do because no one can neglect skills. No one neglects value. I hope you know that. So a job is just a contract of exchange of value. So if you have value that they cannot deny, no one is going to be caring about your GPA, your school, etc. I remember I went to Google and I had to ask them continuously until I stopped. I was like, "Hey, do you guys need my transcript?" I asked them like 4 times. They never responded. I was like, okay, whatever. They never took my transcript.
Wow.
And so if I graduated from UVA or not, they have no full proof. So, and that was back in 2019. And so now they even care even less. They've taken those restrictions off. So just be the best that you can't be denied. That's the
Yeah.
focus, not a
Yeah,
degree.
and we have the program here in Madison County Schools where our students can get IT certifications in high school and graduate ready to get into the workforce at 18 years old. So, like, and you said that was 2019. The trend in tech has changed. So,
Mhm.
if obviously we're not discouraging anybody to go to college, but if they really have that mindset, I'm not a college person, they can go to college later. A lot of these companies will pay for you to get a degree while you're working. So there's a place for them in the tech space.
Yes.
Now, before I get to the students' questions, we got to talk about Black Sisters in STEM because
Mhm.
it's so amazing. And I know you're, and just seeing you smile about it, you're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you've done. And I was talking, before you came on about even though you do gear towards women, really anybody can benefit from this because what you do. I'll let you talk about what you do, but you've created that content and you used AI to do this to create a platform where people can come get professional development in the STEM in the STEM space. So talk about how it came about and what all you guys offer that gears toward Black women in the STEM space.
Absolutely. So, first of all, if you are a Black woman in STEM or you're a Black woman who wants to be in STEM, I salute you. I congratulate you. I celebrate you. And I want you to know you're not alone. And that is why Black Sisters in STEM is here. Our mission, our vision is to unleash the global brilliance of Black women in STEM. We believe that brilliance is equally distributed, but opportunity to manifest that brilliance is not. And that is really what Black Sisters in STEM is here to do. We are just going to push you and help you to understand your brilliance and then how to showcase it. We do that by helping you upskill, so giving you access to certifications that would put you, like Greg said, in the front of the market. Number two, we help you to do that with community. The fastest way to learn is always in a like-minded community. And so you have Black women all around the world, from Nigeria, Ghana, US, UK. We have Black women in China doing their master's degree, all around the world, talking about your guys' similar, same thoughts, issues, celebrations, everything. And then lastly, we prepare you professionally. So if you go on LinkedIn right now, you'll see that we have so many people posting about us because we are sponsoring 3,000 Black women who are
Wow.
desiring to go to STEM for LinkedIn Premium for a year. So you'll have
Wow.
access to LinkedIn Learning, you'll have access to a LinkedIn Premium account. You can message anyone, message recruiters, message mentors. And of course, we have our own mentorship platform. And so when it comes down to people who aren't even Black women, every Friday, if you follow us on our YouTube, you'll see our content that basically is open and visible to everyone. And so feel free to join us. And it's always life changing. And that is Black Sisters in STEM in a nutshell.
Yeah, and you guys also provide professional development as far as interview tactics, interview tips. You guys even have professional ways to wear natural hair, which is
Yes.
you may not think about that, but that is something that is not taught. And we talked about trends are changing, but there's still corporate America may not be ready for that natural hair. So being able to
Mhm.
present yourself professionally, being able to answer interview questions the right way, that is a big deal. And I know you guys have done a great job on that. And again, even though it gears toward women, I really think anybody can benefit from the content that you're putting out.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Well, I do have a few questions from the students. The first one is Rashawn Smith. He's in 12th grade. And
Oh.
he asked, are you happy with what you've accomplished so far? And what was the most stressful part of trying to start this business?
Yeah, I'm so excited about what we have accomplished so far. Because I was doing almost all of this while I was still working at Google. It's just now recently that I've transitioned to full time. So, we've reached over 9,000 women, 33 countries. We've deployed over $1 million in scholarships and
Wow.
support, almost $2 million. We've also have our women earn over $4.3 million in compensation packages, whether it's job packages or scholarship packages. And we have just seen our women truly start trickling up to become, some of the only, for example, we had one girl recently graduate from NYU with a master's degree
Wow.
in informatics and robotics.
Wow.
And she was the first Black woman with that degree at NYU. And she's a part of the
Wow.
network. And so our women are really becoming the first and sometimes the only. And so we are so proud of them. The biggest hurdle, I would say, is really again mindset. It's a whole new mindset to be a leader. It takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of sacrifice, it takes a lot of humility. And I will always tell people, if you want to do anything well, just work on your character. Doesn't matter if you're playing sports, it doesn't matter if you're going to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're going to be a teacher, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. If you want to do anything exceptionally well, work on you. Work on your discipline, your consistency, your attitude towards others. Are you kind? Are you helpful? Are you respectful? Are you humble enough to learn? These are the things that anywhere you go, anything you do, it will help you be successful.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it really is about the way you're perceived. It really is about that ability to, and I know they get so sick of me talking about this, being able to go in a room and shake somebody's hand and introduce yourself, being able to leave that lasting impression. That's what sets people apart, and that is why it's so important. That the content you're doing, and I'm glad you mentioned also about the scholarship money. I've had so many kids in 12 years of teaching say, "Well, I can't afford to go to college," and then I hear about all this unclaimed scholarship money. You don't know until you ask. So I encourage all the young ladies that are wanting to go to college in these STEM fields to really look, and we'll get the information here in a few minutes that when we actually wrap up, to look into that because they may qualify. I mean, it
Yes.
really is a resource that they can find useful. This is Bryson Stevens. He's in ninth grade, and he asks, "What has been the hardest part about getting the word out about Black sisters in STEM?"
The hardest part is about doing it in a scalable and efficient manner. We want to not just be in one area. We want, to be all over Mississippi, for example. And what's the most effective way to do that with limited resources in terms of team members and time, right? And so I would say that is the biggest thing, is always trying to, balance that out. And we don't really want to be an organization that has to like constantly put our information out. I'm someone who I believe that, you know, there's 20% of doing that, of outbound reach, but I really believe that a good organization should have 80% inbound in terms of you should be so good that people have to hear about you. And that's
Wow.
really my goal. My goal is that we are so good. We are the such an effective solution for Black women. We are providing resources that no one else is, that they have to hear about us. For example, this LinkedIn Premium. So many people are hearing about us, following us, subscribing, doing all of these things because who else is providing this specifically for Black women in STEM? And so now there's like a clarion call for people to hear about us, join us, and begin the journey of Black sisters in STEM. Yeah,
That's incredible. And I always say just because you're the first at something doesn't mean you can't be the best at something.
exactly.
Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But a couple things before we go. First of all, blacksis.org is where Black Sisters in STEM is, where all your social medias are there. Great social media follow, all your YouTube. So what all platforms can they find you on?
Yes, you can find us on YouTube and LinkedIn. Those are our primary ones. But of course, we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Well, TikTok might be banned, so who knows? And of course, our website. So you can find us there. If you have any questions, you can email us at info at blacksis.org. And we are always here to answer any questions to support you. And of course, once you sign up, there's a newsletter we do every single week called The Plug. And this is literally what the name is what it is. It's The Plug to help you know about all the jobs, internships, full-time jobs, scholarships that are for you. And these are, some of them are specific to Black women, but a lot of them are just open to people in the areas of STEM. So join us.
That's awesome. And I'm definitely going to connect you here in a second with some of our other Ghanaians we've had, as well as my friend in the UK that's doing something similar as well. But the last thing before we go, why should these young people really consider getting into the tech and STEM space as they start transitioning out of high school?
You should consider going into STEM because your phone is a product of people who study STEM. Instagram, TikTok, where you spend most of your time is a product of a lot of people who took the time to study STEM. Almost everything in your world, even being able to hear me and listen to me today, Zoom, is a product of people who studied STEM. And so, as you can see, you're going to put yourself in a position to build for the world, to build and make things that change how the world functions. Before, there was a time where people couldn't even fathom being in New York, being in Mississippi, speaking to each other, seeing each other while they speak, being able to record it, transcribe it, and save it forever. That was a joke until someone in STEM took the time to create it. So even if you do not go into a STEM career, you have the toolkits and the skills to build tools and technologies that solve practical problems. And not only will you be able to make a lot of money, but you'll be able to make a lot of impact. Do not let anyone confuse you that making money doesn't mean you're not impactful. Bill Gates is one of the most impactful human beings on this earth right now.
Oh, yeah.
Elon Musk. So money and impact are not mutually exclusive. Take the time, learn the skill set, and I can guarantee you it will always help you. Always, always.
Love it. So again, Diana Nyameke Wilson, all the way from New York City, founder of Black Sisters in STEM. We thank you so much for fitting us in your busy schedule today.
Thank
And we
you.
definitely have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and thank you for
Yes,
ending our semester
you
of great
too.
speakers.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm happy to be one of the end. And thank you so much, Greg. Merry Christmas, everyone, and Happy New Year. Let 2025 be your best year yet because you have a new perspective.
Love it. All right. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.